I think that we are mosaics of everyone we've ever loved, or people who have ever loved us. I think there are many things that people look over, especially this camera. I'm getting used to this camera, which is really weird on my face, I feel like. Um, I lost my idea. I'm not gonna redo this now. We're very like hung up on this idea of like when people break up, between love and hatred, there's a really thin line, and people like tend to discredit how people impacted their own lives when the resolutions are like negative, right? So I think to explain that in a better way, it's like when you see a couple break up, you can sometimes hear one of the two people who are in the relationship talk negatively about the other person as if the love was never truly there, or they've simply just made a bad decision, or like they didn't see the red flags or whatever. And in many cases, that can be partially true, or people can actually believe that, or it can be a real situation. Like I don't, you never know. Life is so unique to everyone that you can't really make a generalization that applies to every single person. But I feel like many times we tend to discredit as people the love that was once present in our lives. There's this really weird phenomenon called the peak end rule, which is like a marketing technique and like a psychological thing, which basically says that we judge all of our experiences based on two things, which is the peak of the relationship or the moment or the experience, and then the end. And of course, when things end, we usually remember really vividly when things end negatively, even if the process of the whole experience was something positive or something that we actually enjoyed. So if we had like a pretty negative ending to something, we tend to judge the whole experience as something negative, even if it's not. And it's a really strong bias that I think really affects our way to grow as people and to evolve. Because if you're so quick to like negatively or make a negative inference about someone when they made you grow as a person so much and they made you learn so much about yourself just because you guys had like a negative ending to your relationship, however that or whichever that relationship was, even if it was just like a friendship or family tie or I don't know, a parent or a teacher or a mentor of any sort. Even if your relationship ended negatively, I think we are so quick to simply judge the whole experience as something so negative when maybe in the end it really taught us so much about ourselves and the world and about the kind of things we want to nurture in our lives. I feel like people don't really understand like when you everything comes to an end eventually, and that's pretty obvious, but I feel like every ending is just the start of something new, and not only that, it's like an opportunity, like a window for you to reflect upon yourself and really think, what kind of things do I want to nurture in my life? Is this what I really want? Is something like this what I truly look for? And what really caused this relationship to end? And it's really hard because sometimes when you're so rooted in your own perspective, you're biased to just think like, oh, something outside my own control caused this, or it was the other person, or it was the wrong time. I hate the whole narrative about like the right person, wrong time. I do definitely feel like there are many circumstances in our own lives that don't really allow us to like invest the time into a relationship or into somebody as we wish we could. But I feel like sometimes it's pushed as an agenda to like be emotionally unavailable for people and simply an excuse like, oh, it's just the wrong time. When really you're not willing to commit for that specific person, but maybe for someone else. So I feel like there's also like a lack of honesty in most relationships, but we really are a mosaic of everyone we've ever loved, and you can't really deny it. It's more about like a thing of being honest with yourself and really think about the things I've nurtured in my life, the people I've surrounded myself with. I reflect them at the end of the day. If those people initially, and maybe now it's not the case, but if they initially gravitated toward me, it was for a reason. I attracted them, or I was desirable to them. Be it whatever reason, you can't really deny that. You can't really lie to yourself like that. So you carry them with you at the end. maybe just a little piece or maybe a significant portion. Maybe they taught you so much about yourself that you could have never imagined, and maybe they didn't. Um, or maybe they didn't contribute that as much as like maybe they didn't contribute as much as you really originally thought in your life, and you're just idolizing them in one way or another. But you carry everyone you've ever loved into the future, into your next relationships, into the next friendships you nurture. That's it, yeah.